and welcome to the LaLanne Pass It On podcast. My name is Greg Justice, and I am here with the co-host and the real star of the show, Elaine LaLanne. Elaine, it's great to see you today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I mean, as Jack would say, I'm in great shape for the condition I'm in. Okay.
Well, hey, we've got a special guest today. Are you excited about today's show?
Oh, yes, I'm telling you. You know why? Because I was on the Norwegian Olympic Committee for the 1984 Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got involved because I'm part Norwegian and I'm from Minnesota, all those places. And so they asked me, and he was the Ragnar Kovali was the attaché for the Norwegian Olympic Committee, and so uh, I have all those pins. They gave me pins, and I trade. What fun that was! I'll get into that with Judi. Okay.
Well, there you go. And our special guest today has a big connection with the Olympics, and I will introduce her right now. Our special guest today is Judi Brown Clark, PhD. She is the board chair at the National Fitness Foundation, which is the only congressionally chartered nonprofit focused on health and fitness. Judi is the Vice President for Equity and Inclusion and Chief Diversity Officer at Stony Brook University. She won a silver medal at the 1984 Olympic Games in Los Angeles in the 400-meter hurdles and was a three-time gold medalist at the Pan American Games in the same event. Oh. In 1987, Judi was named Sportswoman of the Year by Sports Illustrated, due largely in part to her involvement within the community. Judi, it is a pleasure to have you as our guest today.
I am equally honored, and I've been looking forward to this, and so I am especially happy.
Well, thank you for joining us. And the connection is, as Elaine said earlier, she was a part of that 1984 Olympics Games, and you had a big part in that, winning a silver medal in a grueling event, the 400-meter event in general, but then you throw in the hurdles on top of it, and that is a grueling event. So kudos to you, an amazing athletic accomplishment.
But I wasn't a participant. The participant part that I played was I was on the Norwegian Olympic Committee, and because I got involved with my friend who was born in Norway, and he was the attaché for the Norwegian Olympic Committee. So we raised funds to help them here while they were here, and that was when we lived in Los Angeles.
See, but that's an enabler, because those are the kind of things people don't understand, that it takes support and structure to actually compete in the Olympics. And so
yes,
what you did is extraordinarily important.
I didn't realize that you each one had to raise money for their,
yeah.
So but I learned a lot there when I was on that committee. And and the pins.
Oh, the pins.
Remember the pins? I had a little Norwegian pin, and so I saw people trading, and this little boy came up to me. He says, "You want to trade a pin?" I said, "Oh yeah, I'll pay to trade."
I love it.
I got the bug, and my gosh, then I got brave, and we want to trade a pin.
Oh my God. Okay, so I have something for you, Elaine. So I'm gonna when I see you in July, I have a pin for you.
Oh,
a very special pin for you. It's an Olympic pin, the trading pin from the 84 Olympics.
Oh, I don't know whether I can find my Norwegian pin.
That's okay. No, listen, you gave me a book.
I know what I'll give you.
I have a pin for you.
I have a pin for you because I have a Star on Hollywood Boulevard pin.
Ah,
how about that of Jack?
That is phenomenal.
Too, Greg.
Hey, I've got mine. I know exactly what pin that is. I'm excited for you to have one, Judi. That's really cool.
Oh, hey, that is an honor.
Judi, you mentioned two words that caught my attention in that process of being an Olympian and going through that. That is support and structure.
Yes.
And those two words are really critical in what the National Fitness Foundation is all about.
Yes.
And it really caught my attention. Let's talk a little bit about that, the work you do, and then we'll actually kind of go down the list of the White House conference pillars, which there are 5.
Yes.
But let's talk in general about your work with the National Fitness Foundation.
Yeah, I mean, one of the, every once in a while, your life really comes together. And what I love about being on the National Fitness Foundation and being the chair is like really creating the national strategy and conversation of addressing some of these extremely complicated challenges to the health and wellness, particularly around our youth. It's around the nation in general, but we're focusing on the whole child and how do you provide opportunities for youth to have positive and productive relationships with movement and sport and health and wellness and physical fitness in a way it doesn't feel like a judgment or a test, but it feels like a relationship of empowerment and so on. And so that's what the foundation represents, working collaboratively with a lot of different partners and stakeholders and really addressing some of the needs of our youth.
And some of those partners, well, let's first talk about some of the challenges.
Sure.
I assume we're talking about obesity. The obesity epidemic is one we're seeing more and more of.
Yes. The numbers are staggering when you think of the numbers from 12 and under, seeing numbers that are like 60+% of our nation is overweight to obese, 60%. We know the comorbidities and how that plays out with a level of lifelong health and wellness.
Right.
And so if the foundation of in your youth, you're already starting to navigate comorbidities and the level of diabetes and heart issues and the weight on your joints and so on. We know how that plays out. And so quality of life is really an issue, and we just have to figure out a way to disrupt that.
Now,
And I think that kind of leads into another one of the challenges, which is the access and affordability of healthier foods.
Yeah.
now,
LaLanne?
go
Go ahead.
ahead.
No, you were going to say something. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I didn't realize, I didn't mean to butt into.
Oh,
Confused.
yeah, the
I'm-
access.
I just want to know about the schools. I see, when I grew up, we always had physical education. Is
Yeah.
there physical education in the
Yes.
schools? But what do they really make them work out, or how?
Yeah, things have changed. There's schools that don't have recess. There's schools that don't have beyond like 3rd or 4th grade, don't have gym and physical activity. And you think about just your ability to focus on your academics requires, some physical rigor and being able to play and stand up and move, get that blood circulating and so on. If we're taking that away and we've got our kids sitting and these schools for majority of the day just kind of sitting and learning and consuming, which we know on the bell curve most students do not fit that model, then it is absolutely affecting how they feel about education in school, how they feel about physical fitness. I mean, because your body will assimilate to a very sedentary lifestyle, and it's just we're not modeling it particularly from an educational perspective. We should be cutting edge. And so we know the research of movement and so on, and what play means for developmental and social skills and things like that. So we stand in education and we're doing the exact opposite of what we know is in the best interest of our youth. We've got to stop.
When you exercise, you clear your head, you clear your brain, you clear your body, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You if you take a deep breath and let it out,
Yeah.
you feel better. Your brain relaxes.
Yeah.
And if you don't do anything, your brain becomes tight.
Yes.
And you can't think like you should.
Right. And you're exercising with people. So you're socializing, you're turn taking, you're laughing, you're, just taking a step away from something that is like intellectually just dense information. If you're just teaching at somebody for some length of time, you hit a capacity. So if you don't take those natural breaks, then you wonder why we're having some of the issues with some of the test scores and behavioral issues with our youth and so on. And just, how are we modeling what work-life balance is? And so I just, I think about it from that health and wellness and movement. I think about it from sport and learning all the things of turn taking and grace and sportsmanship. And you're just not getting the opportunity to do that. What a shame. And that plays out to societal building blocks of leadership that absolutely is going to have a profound impact if we don't turn this ship around.
And on top of that, there's even a disparity between little boys and little girls.
Yes.
And the little girls are being left out in even bigger numbers. Let's talk a little bit about that and
Sure.
some of the work you're doing specific to that.
Yeah, we're trying to create opportunities for equitable and inclusive access. And so many times we think about, sports, whether it's starting as young as like T-ball or some of the baseball leagues and so on, they don't necessarily have gendered leagues or there's encouragement for boys to participate in sports. And many times there seems to be kind of this thought around young girls participating in sports in a way in which you have to defend yourself. And I remember that literally when I was 4 years old in kindergarten. I remember playing with the boys on the playground, and all the teachers who were female, all the teachers would come and get me from the boys and tell me I wasn't ladylike and I need to go back over and play on the monkey bars or jump rope. And so I remember at a very young age, women, telling me that I was not feminine enough and I was not ladylike. And so I think about, obviously didn't have a trajectory on my life, but that same kind of rhetoric. And I think of these young girls not getting the affirmation and all the things I learned from sport, which has led me to other levels of success, outside of sport. And it just, we have to figure out ways of inclusive pathways for everyone to have an opportunity to play, to be in sports, to enjoy it, and for movement.
Yeah.
And when I was young, it wasn't like that. I used to climb trees, and my neighbor used to say to my mother, "When is Elaine going to become a lady at 13 years old?"
Me too.
Climbing trees, but not all girls were like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So your job is an important job that you're doing.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm going to circle back just a little bit,
Sure.
Judi, and talk about, and it kind of goes from that first point of talking about the obesity epidemic, and talking about the access and affordability
Yes.
of healthier food, because that is a big issue. And so much of what we become is what we are given as a youth.
Yes.
And unless we can provide access to healthier foods and healthier lifestyle opportunities at that young age, a lot of these kids are being put into a real tough situation. I think that's an important topic for us to discuss and what we can do there.
It is very important. Half my job is at Stony Brook University, Stony Brook Medicine, and I work with and chair the health equity committee here, and we work on things on food insecurity. And so many times we think about food insecurity, we think about, I don't have access to food. That is one aspect of food insecurity, but healthy, nutritious food is another part of food insecurity. And what we're finding is, it costs more money to eat healthier than it does to eat a lot of processed foods and so on. And so if you go to the supermarket and you start, listen, let me start looking at, what's organic or what doesn't have a lot of sugar and salt and other preservatives to it. It's like, it's the cheaper the food, the less, nutritional quality that it has. And there's like salt and sugar in everything. Even things you don't even know there's salt and sugar, and you're like, why is there like a daily allowance of salt and sugar in here? And so we developed this taste bud of craving this salt and sugar. And then when we have something that doesn't have the salt, we thinking like it's under seasoned. And so we need to get back to, seasoning our food with herbs and other types of seasoning and peppers and things like that, in a way in which it's flavorful, but it's not so reliant on the salt and the sugar and the things that absolutely metastasize into, disease. Foodborne disease is a big, big problem with our youth.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
And
Well,
you don't realize the number of foods that have sugar in them. I
You
mean,
got it.
and that's why it's important to read the labels on
It
everything
is.
that you buy.
Yeah, it is. And to
Well-
know where it's placed.
And
Because
the place is
yeah, so end cap things, you have to be very careful, because things on the end cap aren't necessarily the healthiest. Sometimes if you have to burn a calorie to get it, it's probably more healthier than something that they're driving your attention to, unless it's a health like a health food store.
And
what
some
you eat today is walking and talking tomorrow.
Exactly.
that's a Jack LaLanne quote.
That's a Jack LaLanne
Yes.
one-liner.
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah. And Judi, some of the work you're doing is directly with some of those food manufacturers. Is that correct?
Yeah, and you have to understand, when you're working with corporations, there's business models.
Yep.
And so you have to kind of navigate, what becomes a win-win. And it means that there's got to be a little bit of give and take, So some of it is like, how do we provide these choices? And you will see more and more corporations are creating lines that are healthy. So they have a new food line that is like organic, or it's focused on low sodium, or it's focused on low, low glucose and things like that. So that's a dance.
Mhm.
And then the other is like, how do you empower people to make good decisions, consumer decisions, in a way that's in the best interest for them and their family? But it's particularly difficult when you have scarce resources. And so it's easy to say you should eat, fresh vegetables. We also know fresh fruit and vegetable have a very short shelf life. And so, listen, I bought some grapes, a bunch of grapes the other day. They were $7. I can't imagine my younger self, when my kids were little, being able to afford $7, because my kids would have eaten those grapes in one day.
Mhm.
If Jack were alive, and what you're saying, he would say, think of the results.
Yeah.
In other words, if you're having trouble getting an eye, going into a better way of eating or
Yep.
exercising, then how do I do this?
Yep.
Of the results.
Yeah. And that's the important thing. You have to front load your life, because if you can make these healthy habits, the same way, Elaine, you're doing your jump, you were doing your push-ups, and now you're doing your jackknife, it's just a part of your routine. And
Yes.
so it doesn't take a whole lot, because it's just part of your routine, but you have to front load your life in a way in which that becomes part of your routine. And then it doesn't feel like a burden. It doesn't feel like an add-on. It just feels like healthy living. It's your lifestyle.
Well, you have to earn your living.
You do.
You have to earn your right to. I just say I'm not going to. I have to earn the right to exercise, or I have to earn my way of life. I've
Yes.
got to earn my way of life, and
Yes.
so that's why I try to make a place where I'm going to earn my way of life, and that is exercise and
Absolutely.
nutrition.
Well, and Judi,
They go hand in hand.
They do.
You can't live without the other. They go hand in hand.
Absolutely. Agreed.
And Judi, part of that process comes from the partnership that you have to develop or hope to develop with the parents, because the kids have to have that in their lives to model after.
Yes.
How is that's got to be a challenge as well.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I think, probably one of the most challenging things is the integrity and the authenticity of the messenger. So if you have parents or you have physicians or you have teachers that are saying this is important, but they haven't integrated into their lifestyle, it's a mixed message. So we wonder why sometimes our kids are hearing like these really deeply quality messages from individuals that may not have incorporated that message into their choices. And so that's really important. And so while we're focusing on the youth, we also have to figure out how do we support our local information brokers in a way that they can, with all in, and say this is not easy. And so they have to be authentic and transparent. It's like, listen, I'm giving you good information and I'm showing you that it's difficult because I have not integrated this, but let's work together. And so I think if adults can be open and honest and saying, I don't want you to make some of the choices that I did, but it's never too late. And so while you're making your choices at a young age, I'd like to make my choice with you at this age. Let's together get healthy. And then it becomes an authentic message versus I'm just giving you information that I have not, that I have no interest or discipline to install, yet I'm asking you to do it.
You do as I say, not as I do,
You
Mom.
got that right. That's a dud message. No one falls for that, right?
That's exactly right. That's
Right.
exactly right. Well, let's talk about your all's involvement from a scalability standpoint. It
Sure.
makes sense to be involved with the YMCAs because
Yes.
they're everywhere, right? So let's
Yes.
talk about how you all work with the YMCA, which will then lead to the YMCA's involvement with the Jumping Jack Challenge.
Yes.
That's where Jack got his start.
I know. I just think it's every once in a while think the planets are aligned. What an opportunity for us to partner. And Suzanne McCormick is the CEO of the YMCA and she was on our board. And so it was just an incredible opportunity to really, and the YMCAs are in, all across the nation, but they're particularly focused on communities that don't have access to formal physical activity and out of school time and so on. So it's just a natural fit. And so by using the YMCAs across the nation in a way in which they're already trying to introduce a relationship to health and wellness, mental health and wellness, food choices and so on, it just became the most perfect platform to partner on the Jumping Jacks Challenge. And so as they're having students and youth, being active anyway, being part of a world record, that's a big deal. That, when you ask somebody like, what don't I know about you? It's like, I am part of a world record. I am part of Elaine's world record. And by the way, Elaine, we're not going to break the world record. We're going to retire the world record.
Well,
No one is going to touch this record ever again because we're going to have so many participants.
The record is 2,251.
Yes.
We can do that.
You got it.
I'm going to throw a number out there that may stagger people. We're looking to hit 100,000 people.
I am so with you. I'm not. Did you see me not move? Because I am there. High five. I am so with you. Yes.
We're getting everybody that we can to participate and sign up. And we have the signing up down in LA at the at the Idea Fit convention and Idea Fit. All you have to go in there is .com, ideafit.com. Sign up.
Yes.
You can go to jackalane.com. There's a space there to put all the people that you're gonna bring with you, and you don't have to be down there, but we want as many people down there as we can. So because we're going to be showing that all over the world.
I love it.
And I'm going to give the date again. It's Friday, July 12th at 1 p.m. Pacific time.
Yes.
We're going to break that world record at the Los
Yes.
Angeles Convention Center. And Judi is going to be right up there on stage.
I'll be right.
us.
I've been
You'll be right
practicing.
there with me, Judi.
I will be practicing. I will be right up
I
there
can't
with
do
you.
I can't move my legs back and forth anymore because I have a bone-on-bone knee.
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing this.
I love it.
I can do this, and that's
I love it.
part of
And
the
I'm gonna be
jumping
right
jack.
by your side, Lane, because you are going to be leading the way. Judi's going to be right there leading
I
the way.
love it.
Well, but before that, and while
Yes.
you two were talking, I pulled out that's one of the pins you're going to get,
Aww.
and that's the Hollywood Walk
Oh.
of Fame.
Oh,
So
That
yeah,
is
to show
so-
you the pen.
yeah,
I
there.
love it.
I was digging through my stuff there while we were talking. It's like, oh, I got to show you.
Well, thank you for showing me. I can thank you for showing me. And Greg, will you be there?
I will. You better believe I will be
Excellent.
there every minute of it, and looking very much forward to seeing both of you two in person there. But Judi, tell us where we can get more information about the National Fitness Foundation, and then I'll follow up with the LaLanne Jumping Jack Challenge, which we're all going to be part of.
Yeah, we have a Facebook page, and it's like different things that we're doing. And so I will it's like the National Fitness Foundation on Facebook. It'll pop right up. It'll be the first one, the only one that's named that. And it's a way of and we work with our collaborators, so different things that are going on. You'll see the Jumping Jack Challenge up there. And then with our website, we're it's www.nationalfitnessfoundation.com, but I'll send, that will be at the bottom of here. And we're just looking at doing, from I think it's my Olympic background. It's like, listen, you go for world records. And so, just like the jumping jack, the world record is like, we're moonshot. We go for moonshot kind of things. And so what we're looking to do at the National Fitness Foundation is really creating a national agenda of health and wellness that really is translates to the resiliency and the viability of the nation. And so we take that in a way, we own that, and it is something that we do with full pride and between military readiness, economic, health and wellness, mental health and wellness, like every aspect of it. If we can get this generation coming, all the generations that are in the pipeline coming through to really take this as a core value of how they live, then I mean, just think of the capacity as a nation. Wow.
Also involved with the military and the
Yes.
Tell us some of the not only the YMCA's but the military.
Yes.
The Navy.
Yes.
The Navy and all the.
Yes. So, the military is having challenges because a good portion of the recruits are not able to pass the competencies. And so the physical competencies. And so the same way we have a number of our youth that are overweight and obese, those are also ones that, they want to go into the military. They're not able to pass the physical agility pieces to that. So there's a challenge all around. And, so how do we work with the military to, help these individuals that want to serve their country? How do we wrap around support so that they can get their level of physical fitness? And then we also have military. You think about individuals that are deployed, and you have these military families that are really under, distress because, you've got the remaining parent trying to handle everything. And we know in stress, it can sometimes, metastasize into unhealthy habits. And so how do we support our military families? How do we support, the cadets that are looking at going into the different armed forces, and then the level of continued readiness and support? So it really is all around. We're talking about it from a youth perspective, but it really is, every aspect you can think of.
So you're gonna have people jumping on ships and everything?
Yeah, they're fit. Right. The ones on the ship are fit. The ones that want to be on the ship, that's the one that we're trying to get them fit. Right.
Exactly. And it will all start on Friday, July 12th at 1 p.m. Pacific time with the Jumping Jack Challenge.
Oh,
And
Yes.
you
I
can go
guess
to,
speaking of the military, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's fine,
I'm
that's fine.
so excited that
yes.
we're gonna have a color guard to open it.
Hmm?
From the Marines.
I
Yes.
love it. I love it.
And you can sign up for that on www.jacklelane.com or www.ideafit.com. You can either join us live or do it online. We're going to be streaming at every YMCA across the country, and we hope to see you either online or in person. Judi, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure.
Oh, my pleasure. The pleasure is mine. This was a delight. I can't wait to see both of you in July on the 12th at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah.
But I'm real excited, and the pleasure is mine. Thank you so
Well,
much
the
for
pleasure is ours. And if did we leave out any question that you want to
I
answer?
don't think we did. I think we were great.